Stalker, giant stalker, dragon stalker, crypt stalker, demon stalker, rift stalker, Gron stalker, crypt stalker, scourge stalker, wind runner, I'm a pony, lead skill hunter. A death dealer, a life stealer, that's just the cost of being awesome sauce.
Welcome to episode 241 of the Hunting Party Podcast. I'm Darkbrew from thebrewhall.com and at the Brew Hall on Twitter.
I'm Delirium from Thrill of the Wild and at Delirium Hunts on Twitter.
I'm Bendak from Eyes of the Beast, Blizzard Watch, and Bendak WoW on Twitter.
And I'm RogerBrown from MethodWow.com and at MethodRoger on Twitter.
All right, today is Sunday, July 10th, 2016, and we are broadcasting live on twitch.tv. You can participate in the live chat room where our lovely moderator, Ali Sander, is there to take your questions. And we got a good show today, full house, finally. It's nice to have everybody here to discuss Legion and specifically the upcoming pre-patch, which was announced as coming soon. Now, I don't think Blizzard has given us an official launch date, but they did mention that the end of the current PvP season is July 19th. So I think that is when the patch is going to drop. At least that's what everybody seems to be anticipating, unless anyone else has heard differently. I think July 19th looks like to be the date.
Yeah, I mean, assuming if nothing goes wrong, then it should be.
Right. I know you were pointing out some things, Bendak, that you had noticed. I mean, I guess when we get to talking about pets and things like that, some stuff that doesn't quite look ready for prime time, but I think we're going live no matter what here. So what I thought we'd do today is we'll go through some of the hunter changes and just to give an overview real quick of what we're getting in the pre-patch, because it is a little bit different than the expansion, but we're going to get the class changes, all the invasion events, and the transmog updates, which I'm actually looking forward to, for no other reason than just the copious amounts of bag space that it's going to free up. I'm just looking forward to having a whole set of empty bags for a change. That's going to be nice. And then I guess early access, if you pre-purchase it, you'll get early access to the Demon Hunters. Not right when the pre-patch launches, but they said somewhere around the 17th of August, a couple weeks before Legion actually drops. So I guess that'll be good. People get a chance to roll their Demon Hunters, and they don't start at level 1, right? They're like level 98 or something like that, I think.
Yep, 98.
Yeah, 98. So you'll be able to get them up to a couple levels, get them to 100, and be ready to go, I guess, when Legion drops. So I just ask this: what is everyone's thoughts? Is everyone finally excited? Bendak, are you looking forward to finally getting some new content here? Planning to log in a little bit on the 19th and get back into it?
Yeah, I'm not sure what I'm going to do, but because I don't even think the invasions start right away. So I'll empty out my bank and all that stuff, and then I'll kind of just twiddle my thumbs, I guess, until they unlock something.
Mm-hmm. And how about you, Delirium? What are you looking forward to doing when the 19th hits?
I'm excited to no longer log in multiple times a day just to check the gold farm.
And are they nerfing that too? Right? I know there was.
It's only garrison resources from here on out, unless that doesn't start until actual Legion. But I had thought that it was on the PTR too. All the gold turned in, even like Blingtron's Vault turns into just garrison resources, which who cares? So. I don't know if there's anything really that exciting. I will certainly get my level 100 Gnome Hunter just because, what else am I going to do with the boost? So
Right.
Might as well.
I will go and tame Thok. That's one thing.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I didn't realize that was already.
Yeah, it should be. And how about you, Roger? What are your thoughts on the 19th? Are you looking for having stuff to do now, or?
Actually, it's really bad timing because I've actually planned some vacation starting on the 20th. So I'll be away for like 10 days. I'm going to miss a lot of the, as soon as it comes out, I'll basically be leaving. But yeah, I'm excited, honestly, to just see how the new specs, like with the whole changes that are happening, how they will be on live with all the gear and the tier bonuses that we have, compared to when, like on the beta right now that I'm playing as well. It will probably be a lot different. Probably will have a way better understanding as well, because we'll get to play all the same bosses that we know so well on Hellfire Citadel. We'll be able to play them in a raid environment with the new specs, maybe see the strengths or the weaknesses of some specs in actual bosses. I mean, there is the raid testing that we're doing on the beta, but right now it's only for 1 hour if the servers are not lagging, and now they've opened up normal mode, Emerald Nightmare, but it's normal mode. So I'm excited to see how this whole thing will pan out in terms of the class balance and all that stuff.
No, I think
I'm curious how many specs will be really playable. I haven't played any, but I guess Demon Hunter's the only non-hunter I've played on the beta. And of the hunter specs, though, it seems BM really benefits a lot from its, it's kind of designed around having the second pet. And so I don't know if we'll get much of a feel for what it's going to be like or how it compares to other specs until it gets the artifact weapon. But MM and survival, I think we should have a pretty good taste of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's sort of the question I was wondering too, because so much of Legion, of course, is going to focus around having this artifact weapon, and that won't be available in the pre-patch. That is definitely part of the full expansion. So, you wonder, are these specs going to sort of feel, a little bit naked in that regard, or just not fully fleshed out? I mean, we're not really going to get any new ability. Like, all the talents end at level 100, so it's not like there's a level 100 talent or ability. So we should have most of the tools in the arsenal, but I mean, I think the big thing missing here is going to be the artifact weapon. So it'll be interesting to see how things sort of play without that. And you made a good point, Delirium, with the artifact weapon, the Titan Strike for Beast Mastery, which actually gives you a second pet, which is a big part of what BM can do damage-wise. So it may be too soon to kind of judge in terms of what kind of numbers it's able to produce in this pre-patch, and probably won't get a good sense until we get to the actual expansion to see where it lies.
Yeah, the biggest thing is not actually getting that second pet, which you do instantly as soon as you get the artifact weapon. The biggest thing is the first big trait. Like, there's 3 big traits. The first one that you unlock by getting artifact power, that makes your second pet actually do kill command, beast cleave, and get affected by bestial wrath. So it actually becomes a big thing compared to just the auto attack damage, which it is at the start. So yeah, it is quite a big increase on the DPS.
Yeah, we won't get a chance to play with that until at least level 110. I don't know. I've only leveled once, so I don't have a good impression for how fast you get the artifact points. But I didn't at least get. I wasn't able to unlock any of the big traits until max level.
Mm-hmm.
And was that your sense too, Bendak, with the leveling, or what were you able to do on the way up?
The last time I leveled, I was able to unlock the Master of Beasts trait, which is the one Roger mentioned. I think I unlocked it at level 108, so it is possible. Yeah. As long as but that was me, like, getting a lot of treasures and stuff like that, right? A lot of artifact power in those.
Yeah, so this is not really related, but I'm curious on that note, are you going to need to level pretty slowly? Like, you can't really power through the whole thing because you're more concerned right now with getting your artifact weapon traits than you are with actually hitting 110. For those of us who are going to be raiding at the start of the expansion, I mean.
No. The thing is, artifact power is pretty useless at the start in terms of the grand scheme of things, because there is a mechanic. I don't know if you guys checked out the interview that they had, the Q&A that they had with about the artifacts, the Blizzard Q&A.
I didn't watch it.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
basically, there's this artifact knowledge, which you just pay some resources, resources, and then after a few days, you basically get, knowledge. So the same item that gave you 20 artifact power, after getting that artifact knowledge, is now going to give you 30. And then if you keep going like that, like at this point, on the beta, I am getting 1,100% extra artifact power. So yeah, you basically get 11 times the amount. So the things, that's why it's not really that important to killing all the rares and, you know, opening all the chests to get this 20 artifact power. I mean, it's cool and all.
So is it
you know.
actually better than to wait until you have all of that knowledge before you open any of them?
No, because actually a lot of those items do not get affected by artifact knowledge. They mention it at the bottom of the item. Some items do not get affected, specifically things like items that you get from quests. They don't get affected. So, you know, because there is a quest that gives you 5,000 artifact power in Suramar. If that got affected, you would be, like, would be crazy. I don't know. So yeah, it's basic. There's no way to abuse the system the way they did it. And if someone is thinking, oh, but I'll just save them up and just, you know, the things that get affected, and I'll just wait to, you know, I'll store them up in the bank, get my artifact knowledge, and then use them. That's not how it works. Even if you get more knowledge, the item is this, it gives you the specific amount the moment you looted it. So it doesn't get scaled up if you have already looted it, basically. I don't know if that made sense, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there's really a wrong way to do it because, yeah, like you said, you can't hoard anything, and it's not like you should just stop doing stuff until your artifact knowledge gets up because they've put measures in place to, like you said, so you can't abuse it. So I just really wouldn't even worry about it that much. Just get as much artifact power as you can and get the artifact knowledge as fast as you can.
Yep. The more important thing I would say is to make sure you do the world quests. That every day you get to do 4 world quests in a specific area. It pops up on your map, and it gives you a big chest. I would suggest you do that over going around killing rares to get a few artifact power. That's way more important. Or getting some rep on Suramar. That's way, you know, more effective time spent at the start of the expansion. And then eventually when you get the artifact knowledge high enough, you can go and spam some heroics or do the world quests that give you artifact power, because then it will actually be a huge boost to you compared to the start.
So with the pre-patch, then survival. We know survival, that's the big change, right? Survival is going melee. We've been talking about that for quite some time. Anyone going to be giving that a look now once it goes live, or is it just going to kind of ignore that? I mean, we've all sort of tried it a little bit in beta and even on the PTR. What are some thoughts on Roger? What are your thoughts on survival?
Well, I don't know about you, but I already got my Manoroth polyarm in my bags. I'm ready to go. I think it will be interesting with all the gear that we have. It will definitely be interesting to try it out on live, because there are a few things with these specs that, you know, right now if you have a lot of mastery, for example, you know, maybe it will be pretty cool to play survival. You get so many more goosebite procs and stuff compared to the beta, where, you know, it's not that often that you get them. Yeah, I'll definitely give it a try, but I must say that I'm not a huge fan of the way that like I've played both MM and SV lately in dungeons on the beta. I don't know. I think they've kind of messed up a bit in the design of these two specs in terms of the rotation, the feel. I don't know, the abilities in survival. There's so many abilities. I don't know why. Why? You can't even use all of them realistically. You have to choose which abilities you're going to use, which is so weird to me. Now with the whole pruning that they did, you're supposed to, you know, the abilities that you do damage, single target, for example, you should use all of them, but you can't. It's so weird. It's so weird.
Yeah, it seems like they have a completely, you know, made a 180 turn on their design philosophy in the last 2 years. I'm not sure what spurred it, or if they thought after all the pruning the classes were boring, or I don't know what they were thinking, but Yeah, it's completely opposite of how it was in the WAD beta.
Like right now, just to give you an idea, in survival, I'm not an expert. I haven't played it too much, okay? But in terms of a dungeon scenario, or so I don't know how exactly it will be on raid bosses. I haven't tried it too much, but basically, you have your Raptor Strike, which is you spend your focus on it. It has no cooldown. It's like your filler, let's say. And then you have Flanking Strike, which costs a ton of focus, 50 focus, right? And has a very short cooldown, like 5 seconds. It gets affected by haste, so it depends. Realistically, you cannot use both of those abilities. You have to pick talents and just decide, okay, I will Flanking Strike on cooldown, and I will pick this talent. And I will basically never use Raptor Strike. Maybe once every 30 seconds. Or I will pick this other talent and I will spam my Raptor Strike because I need to keep my stacks up because I got this talent that, is useful for it. And then I will never use a Flanking Strike ever, which is so weird. It's like saying, oh, I have to choose between my Chimera shot or my aim shot on live. Like, what? I don't know. It's awkward.
Yeah, I do recall some kind of high-end hardcore hunters complaining about so for the last, I don't know, as long as I've played, I think one of the hunter mantras has been the ABCs, the always be casting.
Yes.
That it's better to cast, it's always better to cast something than to, cast the right thing but take too long waiting for it. And that's just completely gone now. There is a right thing to cast, and it's okay to do nothing, or it's even necessary, because if you cast the wrong thing, it's going to cost you more damage than doing nothing. And that is very bizarre. I think some of the, the really hardcore players might like it, but it is a huge shift in I don't know, for everybody. I think for both BM and survival, that's very much the case right now.
Yeah, that's the thing with survival. You can probably do really good DPS on a target dummy, but when you're on a boss and you have to look at 50 other things, if you mess up, you actually feel really bad for yourself, first of all, because you're like, oh, I messed up, and my window was there and I missed it. Oh no, I now have to wait 30 seconds until I can get my mongoose bites again. And the other problem with it is that, ironically, even though you're a survival hunter, you're not really surviving very well compared to other melee. So you have to pay really close attention to not get hit. There's no feint, there's no cheat death, there's no cloak, there's no anti-magic cell or any of that stuff. You have to pay close attention, and your mobility is very limited. The harpoon doesn't help you get away of stuff. It just helps you go to a boss. But there's a lot of cases where harpoon is useless. And disengage would be way better. The amount of times I turn around and press my keybind to disengage while playing survival, and then realizing, oh, I don't have that. I have harpoon instead. Damn. Yeah, it's pretty awkward.
But
So,
yeah, I've wondered if maybe I wouldn't hate the spec so much if they would have left disengage in, even though it's not part of the core rotation. It's not part of damage or anything, but man, I just love flying across the screen. And I wonder if maybe I would have just had a better feel for the spec if they would have left in disengage.
Yeah, it would definitely help with the mobility and survivability of the class. Yep.
But back to what you were saying about, sort of that always be casting, that ABC. I mean, you talked about that being an issue with survival. But I mean, I think Beast Mastery kind of suffers from that a little bit too. And I know Bendak, you and I were talking about that a little bit last week, where I mean, there are abilities that you can always cast, like for example, Cobra Shot. You could just, it's always sort of available, but there are just going to be times, I don't know if where it seems like there's just going to be dead spots in the rotation. Does that still seem to be the case?
Yeah, for sure. It's I mean, I think the average like rotation for BM right now, like if you're doing it properly, you're gonna have like 25 or 30% of your time is just waiting instead of actually being on the global cooldown. So you just, it's really weird. It's because it's been so ingrained in us for so long, but you have to kind of like, don't cast Cobra Shot unless you have like 90 focus. It's just weird. So, and then just cast Kill Command and Dire Beast, and that's pretty much everything.
Yeah, I can agree. It feels kind of weird when Cobra Shot spends 40 focus, yeah?
I prefer if they were reversed, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. If Cobra Shot was 30 focus, like right now you're like, oh, you know, Kill Command, Bestial Wrath is coming up. Oh, damn, I pressed an extra Cobra Shot. You are wrecked. You're done.
Yeah.
You have to wait for a lot of focus. Whereas if it was the other way around, 10 focus makes a huge difference because it's 10 focus that you are doing nothing with, waiting for it to regen. So yeah, I would have liked it, as you said, if Kill Command was 40 focus because it's the harder hitting ability, and Cobra Shot being less to 30. Yep. But just to touch on what you're saying about basically downtime, yeah, which is a new thing. So far, we haven't had any downtime on any of the 3 specs, and I think basically now you have downtime on all the 3 specs, if as marksmanship you pick Sidewinders, kind of.
Right.
Okay.
Why would you not pick Sidewinders?
Yeah, I've been doing some dungeons without Sidewinders. It's kind of cool playing around, because yeah, I don't know. I just tried a few things. But if you play the beta a lot, yeah, you just get that feeling of, oh, I need to think more and act less, let's say, yeah, in all 3 specs. I think survival is actually the spec where you kind of don't have that many globals, where you don't do anything. It feels more fast-paced to me. Then it's marksmanship, where you just have to take it a little bit slower, think about it, and use the Sidewinders properly. Don't spam them too quickly. Don't wait too long, because then you have 2 of them and then you're doing nothing with it. And BM, where you literally can, read a book in between kill commands. That's how it feels. So yeah, every spec has that part though in it, compared to now where it's none of the specs have it. So yeah, I think people are going to get used to it. I'm definitely getting used to it. Like, it was weird when I played without Sidewinders and I had to spam arcane shots. I was like, oh, damn, yeah, I'm losing DPS now. I should be using arcane shot. Damn. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
I don't know. It's hard to get used to. I probably haven't played in the beta as much as you have, but I hate Sidewinders. It's miserable because it ruins that spec as much as the other 2 specs are ruined with downtime.
Yeah.
So I've been playing a lot without it just because it's fun to play.
I think I'm playing beta 95% right now. I only play live on Wednesdays for our main raid. And it's kind of weird, because then I go there, I play, I'm like, oh, it's different game I'm playing now. Whoop. So I have to switch turn the switch, let's say, to a different style of playing. And then I straight ahead go to the beta again. I'm like, oh, damn, again switched. It's so weird. But I'm preferring the beta style now that I've played a lot with it. It's, obviously more interesting as well. The only thing I enjoy playing live is the camera distance. I just love the camera distance being max on the live.
Wait, what? I didn't hear about this. What's going on? Camera distance isn't the
you
same.
You didn't?
No. What happened?
Oh, this was explain it to him, Roger. This was kind of a big deal. I mean, everyone kind of freaked out about this.
Yeah, I freaked out.
Putting it mildly.
Okay, so basically, on live, you can go to your options and set how far away your camera max distance you want it to be.
Right.
Okay. But if you use a script, which a lot of people have been using since the dawn of time, you can actually increase that even further than the normal settings in the game. And now on the beta, suddenly, out of nowhere, they decided, oh, that is an unfair advantage for people who do not use the script. So we're just gonna make it not work, and everyone is gonna be stuck at just the, you know, in-game settings in the interface options. And I'm like, what? What? You know, the logical thing would be just to make it so that the in-game settings would just, you know, grow all the way. You could actually set the camera distance all the way to what it is on live with the script. But they decided to go the other way around, and they just force you basically to be more forward for the people who were using that script on live, which I think is over 50% of the people, to be honest.
I think a lot of people, certainly most people that raid use it. I mean, you know, it's very helpful to see, you know, just gives you that better view of what's going on in the room that you're fighting in, and to see some of the pitfalls and obstacles that you need to avoid. I mean, I think a lot of people use it.
Yep.
You know, it's not a secret by any means. You know,
it's been there since the beginning of the game, basically. It's so weird that they decide to take it down.
Well, they're doing all this work on transmog. You got to have your players see their transmog.
It's just annoying because there's some mechanics. Like, okay, there's a boss in Vault of the Wardens, a dungeon in the in Legion, where it's an eye. It's like Durumu, if you remember from Siege of Orgrimmar, Throne of Thunder. Sorry, that's the model. And then he throws some bolts towards, you know, directions, and then those. It's a big room, yeah. It's a big room, and those balls, they bounce off the wall on the sides, and then they come back towards you. So having the camera closer is actually so much harder to see them coming from behind you, that you have to like either like go around with your mouse all the time, turning the camera back and forth, or you just pray, you know, that they don't come directly towards you, and you know, you keep looking at the boss, which is the most natural thing to do. It's just some mechanics where you really would have loved to have that. On the bosses with a small room, it doesn't really matter, usually. But yeah, definitely noticeable, 100%. Must admit.
One thing worth mentioning is the in-game, the interface setting in Legion. The further setting is further than it is on live, but it's still nowhere near as far as it is with the script.
Oh, okay.
But it's not as, because if you look at the max distance on live without the console command, it's really close. So it's at least further than that, but it's okay. Yeah, you still lose a lot of raid awareness without the console command, I find. It must be even worse for melee characters because they can't see behind them. They're up at the boss. At least when you're ranged, you're behind, so you can see in front of you. But
I really hope, like, go and cry about it, guys, on the forums. Blizzard usually acts when a lot of people cry about it.
Yeah, they do, and they have, you know, reversed some of these decisions. If there is enough outcry for certain things, they sometimes do change their mind and go back and revert things. You know, I don't know. And like I said, this is one of those things. It wasn't like they introduced this in Warlords of Draenor, right? The ability to use that script. As you said, it's been there since the beginning of time. And all of a sudden now they decide to do something about it. It's almost, you know, shutting that barn door after the horses have left kind of feeling to it. It's like, why now? What is it? You know, unless there's something they're doing with the new raids that this is somehow gives you an unfair advantage and minimizes the encounters, which I sincerely doubt that's the case.
Yeah, I just don't buy. Sorry, I just don't buy the argument that it's an unfair advantage. It's an unfair advantage when not everyone can use it. Everyone can use it, and if you feel like some people don't know about the script, well, just put it in the settings normally. You know, then it's not an unfair advantage anymore, is it? I don't know. Anyways. Guess we talked about that enough.
Yeah, it is, right? But just don't be surprised when you know, however you adjust your camera, if you do it with like your wheel mouse or whatever, you know, you keep trying to scroll out and it doesn't work. It's not the game being broken. It's what Blizzard has done to fix it, I guess. So I had a question about marksmanship. Aim shot, is that... we had a couple of different... I think it was confirmed that it was like a data mining error. Is that what came out of that? Whether aim shot was going to be instant, was changed to instant. Okay. Wowhead, I think, had it normal, and one of the two data mining groups, someone had it listed as an instant shot with the last build, and I don't think that's the case, right?
No, it's not. You'll still get your instant aim shots with your set bonus.
Set bonus, right?
Yeah.
Right, and then till you get rid of that. So that would have been nice.
That would be, pretty good buff, I must admit.
So let's just ask this question then, with the pre-patch and going into Legion. So which specs is everybody leaning toward? Like Roger, what do you think are going to be your primary rating spec? And will you have more than one? And are you going to be maintaining more than one artifact weapon in Legion?
Wait. Oh,
well, both. I mean, it both leads into is there one spec that I think you're leaning towards? I guess we could talk about pre-patch versus Legion if there's a difference, which I suppose there is.
Yeah, in Legion right now, there's only one spec, basically. It's Beast Mastery. Beast Mastery can do everything the other two specs can do, better. just like that, And it's arranged, and, there are less ranged classes out there, so you have less people to compete with, I guess, against for a spot. If you're a survival hunter, good luck convincing your raid leader that you should play survival instead of a death knight or a rogue or a demon hunter.
Or a demon hunter, right? Too now in the mix, yeah.
Good luck with that. Whereas, BM, he has the huge advantage. You can move while DPSing. You don't lose any damage there. Has all the mobility. It's the disengage. You have the sprint. I mean, every spec has that, but as a ranged, it's really insane freedom. It's even better than now, to be honest. And you have downtime as well. Like, anyone can play it. You don't even have to be, stressing so much about your rotation or anything. You just make sure you use your cooldowns properly, and that's about it. And then you can look around for fire. Don't stand in the fire. I don't know. It's the easiest, the best, and I don't know. It's only one spec, honestly, right now. After they nerfed survival, because they nerfed / fixed survival, and now the single target DPS is not that great as it used to be. Now for pre-patch, I will definitely try out all the specs, but I wouldn't be surprised if BM is not the best. And I think possibly marksmanship will be better, like the good spec, because of all the haste that you will have now, and the instant aim shots. Like, I think that might just make the spec the best for pre-patch. That would be my guess, at least. Yep.
And how about you, Bendak? I think you've hinted at Beast Mastery as well. Is that sort of your thoughts going into Legion with the pre-patch as well?
Yeah, I've been planning on going that for a while now. It's just marksmanship. I don't know. I guess if things went really downhill for BM for some reason, which I wouldn't put it past Blizzard, I mean, I would probably fall back on like marksmanship with like Sidewinders, because I kind of enjoy that, but survival's kind of out of the running for me. So yeah, I mean, I'm happy that BM is doing well. I hope it lasts.
Yep.
Yeah. And how about you, Delirium?
I think I'll be playing Lucio, maybe occasionally McCree or Farah. Yeah, I don't have any plans of playing hard at all in the pre-patch. I mean, I'll log in, play around. I'll probably raid with my weekend team. Just kind of, funsy runs. I assume it'll be as insanely easy as it was last expansion. But I don't plan on logging in to really do anything else.
I actually heard that, I haven't played on the PTR, but I heard that it's not as easy, actually. Like, a lot of people basically got nerfed with these changes.
Right.
And I think it makes sense because the artifact power is quite a huge thing. Yeah, it's not just, oh, you get an extra talent like in the past. So I think if they don't just flat out nerf the bosses, it might not be as easy as previous times.
And
Well,
I
they
don't
did
think
nerf
they were
Hellfire
nerfing them
bosses.
because of the
Yeah.
loss of the
Yeah,
whatever
the
they call
Hellfire
the
bosses.
teams.
And I don't suspect. I don't think they will. I don't think they're planning to nerf the bosses or put any time in that. So, but again, it's just so close to the end here. I'm not sure how much raiding people are actually doing, unless they're scrambling around maybe to get the moose if they haven't done that. Oh, is that going away with
Can
the
you?
quick patch, or is that going away with Legion?
You can get that right up until Legion.
Right up until Legion. Okay, yeah. So you'll still be able to do that once 7.0 hits, which is good.
But all the achieves are over, right?
No?
Good point. I don't know.
What achievements?
Cutting
Like,
edge.
ahead
Oh,
of the
cutting
curve.
edge, maybe. I know you can still get the Archimon mount 100%, but I'm not sure about the cutting
Oh,
edge.
that's actually probably a good reason to do it every week then. I still don't have that mount after 2 characters of raiding for a year.
Oh.
But all right, well, let's talk about some of the pet changes that are coming. There's actually a lot of good stuff coming in the pre-patch, such as the new pet families, the mechanical, oxen, and scale hides. I was looking over at Petopia, and I think they had over 65 different appearances will be available in the pre-patch for pets. So that's nice. So if you have room in your stable, which you may probably have to make room for, there'll be a bunch of stuff that you can go and tame. And Bendak, you had mentioned Thok being tameable as in the pre-patch. I think that'll be the one that a lot of people will want to go after. I'm looking forward to getting that one right away.
Yep, and most of the mechanicals you can tame too, assuming you're a goblin or a gnome. So I think only a handful of them are actually in the Legion zones, so that's nice. Pets, the one thing I wanted to touch on is like Blizzard still hasn't done anything with pet abilities. Like it's still really inconsistent. You have like 24 pet families that have no abilities at all, and then the other ones who had non-buffs, they still have them. And then 2 of the new families, the Oxen and Scalehide, they don't even have basic attacks. So I wouldn't bother taming any of those right now because you're going to lose DPS.
That's
And
racist.
this is all stuff that like has been bug reported many times, and I'm just not sure what's going on. If they're leaving it to the very last second, or just kind of forgot, or what.
And that's too
Yeah.
bad because there's some good, like oxen, like you can get shovel tusks, for example, are part of that family. They look kind of cool. I've always wanted to tame one of those. And in the scale hides, that includes, the Mushan and the Kodos, and some of the Kodos are kind of fun to have, as well as what are they, those Stegodons, which are the dinosaurs you can see in various places. I don't like the way they look too much, but what's the point if they don't even have their basic attacks? But what were you going to say, Roger, about the pets?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm not like a huge fan about the appearances or anything. Going more on the technical things, since all the buffs are gonna be away, like there's no more reason to have a specific pet to bring a specific buff in a group. I would suggest if people want to do dungeons, Mythic Plus dungeons in Legion, etc., you could already go and get a Nether Ray, because that's going to be useful. It brings Bloodlust to the group. So if you're not running with a Shaman or a Mage, you can have that, or obviously the Core Hound. Actually, I'm. Can you have the Core Hound as a survival? Probably not, right?
No, it's exotic. It's Beastmaster.
Yeah, that's still a thing. Yeah. So, you might as well go and tame another race so that you're ready having it. You don't have to do that in Legion. And also Quillen for the combat res. Those are the only 2 that are, somewhat useful or really useful sometimes in these 5-man dungeons. Obviously, they're not going to be any use for you in raids, but there's no limit to how many combat reses you can have in a group. So go get a Quillen, I would say. And what else did I want to say? Oh yeah, of course, Spirit Spirit Beast for the heal, in case you want that. I think those are the only 3 that you actually get something useful from. So if you want to do Mythic Plus and feel useful for your group, go get those 3. You can get all of them, obviously, already. That's why I'm saying it. Yep.
Yeah, I just wish they would take all these pets that have nothing and maybe just give them copies of existing ones. Like, give a couple more pets Bloodlust, give a couple more pets Battle Res, just so every pet has at least something, you know? 'Cause it just seems kind of weird. Let's say you really like a particular pet, and it's like, it just feels bad using it because it doesn't have anything, you know?
Yeah, I mean, completely agree. It sort of takes, especially like you said, the smaller your group, the more likely you are to need something like a combat res or a bloodlust. So you may feel forced to using one of those pets that has that ability, and not be able to use something that you might actually like or want. So, yeah, I don't like the fact that they have that those inconsistencies there.
And at least give something to mechanical pets because they're so cool. They have to go through like some trouble to get them too.
And then what about just their overall effectiveness? I remember, Beast Mastery, they like that adaptation is gone at this point, correct? So we don't really have that going for us. I mean, the pets just seem squishier this time around to any of you.
Yes,
Or,
they're squishier in the sense that you have way less pet healing and stuff like that. I've been complaining about that the whole beta pretty much.
I was actually pretty lucky, and I got a legendary item, which gives it's a ring, and what it does is increases your pet damage by 10%. And it also makes it so that your pet, regardless if it's a ferocity, tenacity, or what did I say? Anyways,
Cunning.
Cunning.
There we go. Yeah. It gets the other 2. Like if it's ferocity, it will get the passive abilities of the other 2 specs. So I have my ferocity pet, and it runs 30% faster, boar speed. It has the blood of the rhino, which I think it's like 60% health, etc., etc. And I guess those are the only 2 important ones. But yeah, 60% extra health is pretty big. Yeah, I would say.
You actually got that on the beta.
Yeah. Yep.
Where did it drop from?
I dropped from scenarios, actually. We did the raid and dropped from a boss. In the Emerald.
That's the one I'm hoping to get, but there's so many of them, so I probably won't get it.
Yeah, that's what I thought as well. Oh, I got it now. Yay, but also I'll never get
last
that.
one you get on live.
Exactly. Another small thing that I'm not sure if people know is that Bloodlust actually got changed, just because we talked about the pets before. Bloodlust debuff got changed, and now it does not get removed when you die. I don't know if people are aware of that.
Oh, I was not aware of that. Yeah, so that's good to know.
So it fits with the pets better, actually.
Yeah,
the pets don't get their CD reset either, so they can't cast it anyways.
Yeah, I think they did this because of the people would suicide in Mythic Plus dungeons just to get the Bloodlust reset. So they said, just let it stick, so they don't do that anymore. But it is kind of sucky, I guess. I don't know. It's kind of annoying sometimes, must admit. Yep. That's just random, info that I thought was nice to bring up, I guess. There you go.
No, it's good to know. I'm sure probably won't take long for people to discover that early on, especially when they're learning dungeons and fights and all that other stuff. But yeah, it does seem like the pets have sort of certainly as a Beastmaster, playing Beastmaster doesn't seem quite as powerful as they were in Warlords of Draenor. Some of that too is we lost a lot of the healing abilities as well. So I mean, does BM still seem to have the best pets overall in terms of performance, or is it a little more even now between survival as well as marksmanship if you choose to play with a pet with marksmanship?
I would think with marksmanship, if for like really difficult soloing single target stuff, it's probably the best because you can get that black arrow talent, and you can have your pet plus the black arrow pet basically taunting back and forth, and splitting the damage. Yeah, I'd say, I don't know, it might not be as bad as I'm making it out. I'm just so used to having like a god mode pet for soloing, and it's just not like that anymore.
I think, okay, what I did in the beta when I had like a boss out in the world, you know, and I wanted to solo it. Okay, so you have this new heal, exhilaration for all the specs, and it fully heals your pet, right? 100% heal. So what I would normally do is I would throw my pet at the boss or whatever, pop all my cooldowns, blah blah blah, DPS it. When my pet, I would also use Ment Pet because you have downtime as we discussed before, so you can just throw that Ment Pet. And when my pet would be at like 10% health, I just, you know, fully heal it back to 100. Yeah. So that's basically having a second pet. Okay. And then when it dies, I just, you know, Heart of the Phoenix, res it back. So, I mean, at that point, if you have gone through 3 pets with Ment Pet rolling and you still haven't killed the boss, I guess you need to, you know, group up with someone because it's not happening. That's just what I think. It works really well in general. Like the exhilaration at the start, I thought, oh man, for MM, it's 50% for yourself. For BM, it's only 30% for yourself and 100% for your pet. That kind of sucks, but actually it's really cool. Insta-healing your pet up to 100% for soloing stuff. I think it's... I think we're definitely one of the best classes to solo for sure. Still.
Yeah, I really like the exhilaration too. I'm just
Nope. He cut out there.
barrage, everything in sight. Oh, am I back?
Yeah, you're back. You just cut out for so why don't you just repeat what you had said there?
No, I just said it just seems overall, it just, I miss being able to like misdirect barrage and then get everything on the pet and have Spirit Bond and Men Pet be enough to just keep it going, you know? Now it's just, like Roger was saying, you have to basically go through like 3 or 4 pets to do the same thing, but...
Yeah. Oh, I've definitely also done the following. Send my pet, you know, after I've done that, I've rested it, I've fully healed it, and then it still dies. I just revive pet, you know, go again, bro, you know, like it's like a consumable. It's like, okay, you go, it dies. By the time the boss reaches you, you have rested it again. It goes back in, taunts again, dies again, you know, and just keep going like that. On some bosses, you can do that, I guess. It feels like you don't even care about your pet. You just send it to its death. But
and we also still have okay kiting abilities, at least not survival, but the rest of the actual hunter specs.
Yeah, I agree. Sorry, just to agree on you, I agree the pets feel weaker, but you can go through them more rapidly. Like it's, as I said, feels more consumably, if that's a word, than in the past. Yeah, sorry.
Well, we have 3 questions from the Twitter and the chat room if you guys want to hear them.
Yes. Listen, we haven't done that in a while. We haven't gotten a lot of questions in a while. So yeah, let's go ahead. So what are people asking?
Spanky Hunter via Twitter at Method Roger. Any word on how tuning is going for us in Legion? Looking forward to your thoughts.
Yeah, so compared to other classes, I suppose, is the question. And actually, BM Hunter, as I said, it's really good. And it's actually really good compared to other classes as well. Like as an overall thing. On a pure single target fight, you know, rogues seem to be insane right now. But I would say in general, if things stay as they are now, which I'm sure they won't, BM hunters you're gonna see yourself more often on top 5 than you used to see yourself on top 5 in WoD as a BM hunter. You know, things can change, but that's how it is right now.
Awesome. BM Jagger from the chat room. That's one thing I don't like about legendaries. They mostly just give us stuff back that Blizzard took away. How will that work in raids, or is it just in Mythic Plus dungeons? And that may have been talking about Bloodlust, but it's not for sure.
Well, I think that ring certainly gives us something that we were talking about. Gives us something that we have now, right? We have that as a talent in Warlords of Draenor, or at least some of that. So I think it probably partly referencing that.
Yeah, a lot of that's true for artifacts also. They just give us back things that they've had given us before and then nerfed or took away. Which, I mean, they do that every expansion at this point. I feel dejectedly used to it. So, whatever.
Yeah. I remember, actually, it's a fair point. Like, I remember back in the day, like, Wrath of the Lich King came out. I think it was that time. Oh, now you get to shoot a freezing trap out. Whoa, huge, you know, amazing.
Yes.
And then they're like, oh, Cataclysm, now you can shoot all of your traps out. It's like, I already had that. What? Wait, it's not even a new thing. Don't try to steal my new stuff. I want new stuff. Don't. And then they, you know, sometimes they take away your new stuff, and it's like, oh, this is new. That you don't have your new stuff that you used to not have. Then we gave it to you. Now we take it away. Like, are we even like progressing in this game, or are we just going back and forth? So,
but that's true. I guess you just sort of get used to that, where they sort of repurpose these things and present the same content in a slightly different way and say it's new, and it's like, well, it's not really new, right? You're just
yeah.
It's like we had this before. And I think they've done that before with like talents and glyphs and things like that. Speaking of glyphs, are the glyphs? I wasn't sure if the new glyphs are going to be available in the pre-patch, or is that something we'll be able to get, or are we going to have to wait until Legion for that? I don't know if any of you guys knew.
I haven't really looked, but I'm guessing that the new glyphs, like for example the Darby's glyphs, you probably won't be able to get those until Legion. But some of the glyphs that they reused, I'm guessing those will still have the same mats and everything.
Yeah, I haven't looked. I mean, obviously they'll still come from Inscription. I just don't know if they're all new patterns specific to the profession changes coming in Legion, or if some of the stuff will be available now. I haven't really looked to know for sure. But again, I mean, all those glyphs, some of them are kind of neat, but they're more cosmetic in nature anyway. So it's not like you're missing out on abilities or damage or anything of that nature. But they are fun. Some of them are fun.
Okay, and our last two questions are about PvP. Freelancer wants to know, he's interested in knowing the spec that is most likely to be used in PvP, which I'm guessing is BM again. And Guardwire wants to know, in general, how is PvP?
Well, the spec I'm planning on using is Lucio, and maybe occasionally Terra. Sorry. Yeah, I haven't really heard much about it. Anybody been paying attention to PvP?
I have not, but I don't know if BM would be the best for it. Just because if they kill your second pet, you can't bring it back yourself. I don't know.
Oh, there was a change on that.
There was a nice change, yeah.
Yeah, it used to be 2 minutes downtime without your pet.
Right.
Now it's 30 seconds.
That was a big improvement. I still would have preferred just being able to revive it too, but I'll take that.
Yeah. I mean, 30 seconds is not that long. It's okay.
4 is just ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't played a single PvP arena or battleground, so I can't really say anything. I'm sorry. But
this is the wrong crew for that, unfortunately. Though, after 7 years of doing this, that should be a surprise to absolutely no one.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure though that MM is not going to be the greatest because of aim shot. You have to stand and cast it. I don't know. They have headshot though, which is insane damage. At the same time, you know, maybe you just go with that instead as a burst. I don't know. Anything I say is probably gonna be wrong. But yeah, survival actually might be kind of cool because they have this burst with the mongoose bites quite often. And I think that's what you kind of want in PvP. You want bursts every few seconds. You don't really want to have this big cooldown that you're going to destroy the other enemy because they just press their defensive. Whereas with mongoose, mongoose bites, you can basically burst him every 30 seconds or so, which is quite good. But again, never tried it.
There's also those PvP talents, which I always forget about. But the one for marksmanship, the final one, looks pretty cool. The sniper shot. It's like a really powerful shot, kind of like piercing shot. But then after you cast that shot, all of the range of all your shots is increased by 40% for 10 seconds. And that sounds pretty fun to me.
That does sound kind of cool.
In Battlegrounds, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was a general thought that in the guild that why are the PvP talents cooler than the PvE talents?
Right.
Why? There's so many cool talents there, and we
That's
get.
all. Whenever I was looking at them from the, I don't know, the first time they released a lot of that in the data mining, I got so excited. I was like, oh, we're going to be soloing masters. This is all so amazing. We can do everything now. And then it turned out it was all just PvP. Too bad.
Yep.
And I think we had one email question, which we just sort of touched upon it, where this was from Bruce, and he says, soloing is one of my favorite things in WoW, and it saddens me to think that hunters will have to deal with a weaker toolkit for it. How are pets doing in each spec? Any chance survival might end up a good choice for it, or does beast mastery still hold the edge? And I think we kind of talked about that. Yeah, I don't know where now extreme soloing and how that's gonna work out come Legion. I mean, it was always beast mastery was certainly Warlords of Draenor was the obvious choice for that.
Yeah, I think survival is probably the worst for soloing.
Yeah.
I've seen Shoots still been doing some on the PTR and beta, who a lot of you might remember from the show. Anybody listening who's been on a couple times now, I think, or a few times maybe. But he's been doing both marksmanship and BM. It looks like, yeah, they're both weaker than they are now, but it's still possible.
And has he indicated which he prefers right now, marksmanship over beast mastery, or?
I haven't heard. I tried to text him when I got this message, and haven't heard back from him yet.
Yeah, Munchie Fest in the chat room has said Shoot's been playing Mark, so maybe he's found something there with marksmanship that he likes.
Yeah, he recently posted a video of him soloing Hellfire High Council as marksmanship.
Okay.
On the beta.
Yeah, I'm curious. How does he heal? Because that's the big thing. Like we don't have a heal that is all the time there. That's the biggest downside. We only have basically exhilaration.
Well, that's pretty much it, I guess, right? Oh wait, no. There's does the marksmanship artifact have a heal thing, like the aspect of the turtle?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah.
And Beast Mastery has a thing where your kill command heals you for 15% of the damage that it does. But yeah, we don't have like a spirit bond passive heal all the time kind of thing.
No.
Because I think that's the biggest concern. Like you're dying, like you can keep your pet alive easy, but you're just dying and you have nothing to do. Like that's the feeling that I got, at least.
Roll of an eye.
Yeah, Naru, save me.
Well, I guess exhilaration plus the aspect of the turtle heal is decent. It's not like I don't know. The nice thing about the aspect of the turtle heal is you can cancel the aspect of the turtle and the heal stays.
Actually, the good thing about Like there will be probably some bosses where, as marksmanship, your exhilaration actually gets reduced by 30 seconds every time you kill a minion, a mob, anything. Yeah.
Right.
So potentially, if there is like a boss or something that spawns ads that you can kill, you can probably get exhilaration quite fast back up, and kind of cheese it that way and spam the exhilaration. That's yep. That's a thing.
Well, the Chaos Portal show had a long talk about PvP and soloing the other day, and they said that the set bonuses on old tier sets are all going to be taken away since it's no longer challenging content, which a lot of soloers, they use that kind of gear for the various buffs and sets. And I hadn't heard anything else about that except from them. Is that true?
It's true, but I'm not sure. I know that used to be a thing for hunters. They used to use the old, was it the tier 5, where you healed a % of the damage or something like that? I forget. It was like one of the Burning Crusade set, and that was like a big soloing thing in like Wrath of the Lich King. But I don't think nowadays you really use old sets for like extreme soloing anyway. I think the only time it was being used is kind of like just for fun and like time walking and stuff like that. But maybe they're worried about certain set bonuses just being so good that people would feel that they have to use it.
Yeah, I think it's probably just to protect themselves from, not looking into something that can get abused, like it was in what was that healing boss? Damn, I forget the name. Like that dragon boss
Lithria?
in. Was that the name?
Lithria, the one in ICC?
No. I'm talking about where Saufir is. What's the
Toulon
name?
or something
Terrace
like
of the Endland Spring. Yeah, something Toulon, Hulon, something like that. Yeah. Yeah. Where you would get you had like the healing phase and the DPS phase, and you could abuse Druid set bonus that increased the healing on him by 40%, and it was huge. Something like that. Like they're just like just remove everything, just so we're safe. Probably.
All right. Well, we've sort of come up on another hour here, so unless there's anything else any of you guys wanted to bring up, I think we'll call it a show for today, and we'll come back in a couple of weeks. I think on the 24th would be our next scheduled show, so that will be post pre-patch, and folks from AMR, Ask Mr. Robot, are scheduled to join us, and they've got a new kind of simulation tool that they're putting together for Legion. I think it's already out, available for testing, and probably be fully live, I think, once the pre-patch gets here. But we'll have them on and chat with them about that and give you the scoop on that, and maybe see what it can do for hunters for Legion. So on that note, you have been listening to episode 241 of the Hunting Party Podcast. I'm Darkbrew from thebrewhall.com and the Brew Hall on Twitter.
I'm Delirium from thrillofthewild.com and at Delirium Hunts on Twitter.
I'm Bendak from Eyes of the Beast, Blizzard Watch, and Bendak WoW on Twitter.
And I'm RogerBrown from methodwow.com and at methodroger on Twitter.
All right. Check us out on iTunes, YouTube, Stitcher, or add our RSS feed to your reader, and we'll have all these links available in our show notes.
If you have a question or a topic you would like us to talk about on the show, email us at huntingpartypodcast@gmail.com or send us a tweet at huntingpartypod.
And we will maybe read it, like today. All right. Stay thirsty, my friends. Remember to drink your dark brew lager.
Siempre prestar la emoción de lo salvaje.
Keep your eyes on the beast.
And find the true method of hunting.
For the Horde.
I like that one. That's a good one, Roger.
I didn't even see you put that in the notes.
I didn't see where that came from either.
It's from last time I was here.
Was it? See, I didn't. Shows you how much we pay attention during the outro. All right, it was like, oh.
You have to pay attention. There's some traps laid out for people.
There are.
Yeah, I still catch up on the abstain every week.
Life stealer, that's just the cost of being awesome player, boss slayer. I rock out with my lockout I'm a hunter. I'm a hunter. I'm a hunter. Viper to cheetah to dragon hawk. No time to waste, 'cause I can jump shot. PM, MM, and SB. I can rock out any tree. Never worried about my threat, 'cause I've got FD and misdirect. Catching loose mobs in my traps. I never miss, 'cause I am hit capped. 'Cause I'm the hunter, not the marked. I'm the fighter, not the spark. I'm the kiter, not the kite. I'll top the meters every fight. Rated NK, dealing death. Just me, my gun, and my trusty bed. Now let's begin with Illidan, Osirian, and Gil'jadan, Magdamar, Asgalor, Gruul, Cthulhu, and Razorgore, Onyxia to Ragnaros. Which one have we killed the most? Kel'Thuzad to Malagos. We even killed a Kama's ghost. Feels like we're getting close, all that running as a ghost. Anubarak, Yogg-Saron, Thorian, Sartharian, Magtheridon, Sapuron, Lucifer to Sulfuron, Archanon, Amalon, Coromon, Algalon. The faction champions, the death toll rolling on and on. Garv, Veil, Executus, Chromagus, and Charexus. Moon, Luru, Kael'thas. We won't stop till we kill our boss. I'm a hunter. I'm a hunter.